at the cellular components. Okay, blood and the cell it contains. The average human adult has more than 5 liters of blood in his or her body. Blood carries oxygen and nutrients to living cells and takes away the waste products. It also delivers immune cells to fight infections and contains platelets that can form a plug in a damaged blood vessel to prevent blood loss. Through the circulatory system, blood adapts to the body's need. When you are exercising, your heart pumps harder and faster to provide more blood and hence oxygen to your muscles. During an infection, the blood delivers more immune cells to the site of infection where they accumulate to ward off harmful invaders. All of these components make blood a precious fluid. Each year in the USA, 30 million units of blood components are transfused to patients who need them. Blood is deemed so precious that is also called red gold because the cells and proteins it contains can be sold for more than the cost of the same weight in gold. Components of blood include blood contains cells, proteins and sugars. The upper one is the plasma. The in between plasma and red blood cells are the white blood cells and platelets, and the lower one are in the red color are the red blood cells. If a test tube of blood is left to stand for half an hour, the blood separates into 3 layers as the denser components sink to the bottom of the tube and fluid remains at the top. The straw-colored fluid that forms the top layer is called the plasma and forms about 60% of the blood. The middle white layer is composed of white blood cells and platelets, and the bottom red cell is the red blood cells, RBCs. These bottom 2 layers of cells form about 40% of the blood. Plasma is mainly water, but it also contains many important substances such as proteins, albumin, clotting factors, antibodies, enzymes, and hormones, sugars, glucose, and fat particles. All of the cells found in the blood come from bone marrow. They begin their life as stem cells and they mature into 3 main types of cells: RBCs, WBCs, and platelets. In turn, there are 3 types of WBCs: lymphocytes, monocytes, and granulocytes, and 3 main types of granulocytes: neutrophils, eosinophils, and basophils. A sample of blood can be further separated into its individual components by spinning the sample in a centrifuge. The force of the spinning causes denser elements to sink, and further processing enables the isolation of a particular protein or the isolation of a particular type of blood cell. With the use of this method, antibodies and clotting factors can be harvested from the plasma to treat immune deficiencies and bleeding disorders, respectively. Likewise, RBCs can be harvested for blood transfusion. Red blood cells transport oxygen. Every second, 2 to 3 million RBCs are produced in the bone marrow and released into the circulation. Also known as erythrocytes, RBCs are the most common type of cell found in the blood, with each cubic meter of blood containing 4 to 6 million cells. With a diameter of only 6 micrometers, RBCs are small enough to squeeze through the smallest blood vessels. They circulate around the body for up to 120 days, at which point the old or damaged RBCs are removed from the circulation by specialized cells in the spleen and liver. In humans, as in all mammals, the mature RBC lacks a nucleus. This allows the cell more room to store hemoglobin, the oxygen-binding protein, enabling the RBC to transport more oxygen. RBCs are also biconcave in shape. This shape increases their surface area for the diffusion of oxygen across their surfaces. In non-mammalian vertebrates such as birds and fish, mature RBCs do have a nucleus. If a patient has a low level of hemoglobin, a condition called anemia, they may appear pale because hemoglobin gives RBCs and hence blood their red color. They may also tire easily and feel short of breath because of the essential role of hemoglobin in transporting oxygen from the lungs to wherever it is needed around the body. While blood cells are part of the immune response, WBCs come in many different shapes and sizes. Some cells have nuclei with multiple lobes, whereas others contain one large round nucleus. Some contain packets of granules in the cytoplasm and so are known as granulocytes. Despite their differences in appearance, all of the various types of WBCs have a role in the immune response. They circulate in the blood until they receive a signal that a part of the body is damaged. Signals include interleukin-1, a molecule secreted by macrophages that contributes to the fever of infections, and histamine, which is released by circulating basophils and tissue mast cells and contributes to allergic reactions. In response to these signals, WBCs leave the blood vessel by squeezing through holes in the blood vessel wall. They migrate to the source of the signal and help begin in the healing process. Individuals who have low levels of WPCs may have more and worse infections. Depending upon which WPCs are missing, the patient is at risk for different types of infections. For example, macrophages are especially good at swallowing bacteria, and a deficiency in macrophages leads to recurrent bacterial infections. In contrast, T cells are particularly skilled in fighting viral infections, and a loss of their functions results in an increased susceptibility to viral infections.